The next part is also a high heat capacity part. It's the fuse clips. And there's 4 of these. Now the fuses actually come with the fuse clips, which is a practice I'm actually going to have my guys stop doing. You don't need the fuses right now, and just by keeping them around, you're not doing yourself a whole lot of good. We talked about polarity a couple of times. I'm going to see if I can show you this clip. There's a ridge here on this side. This is the outside of a fuse. It's where it keeps the fuse from sliding past. So what you do, it needs to go. Notice where I'm orienting these such that these little outside stops are on the outside of the fuses. If you don't do that, your fuses will never go in. I'm going to attempt to flip these. Oh well, I'll tell you what, we're just going to go back and get the pencil box on these. And these puppies are big, they take a lot of heat and some patience. No real danger on damaging the part, they're just chunks of metal. The more concern would be damaging the board by putting too much heat on it, but as long as you're feeding solder in there at the right rate, we'll do just fine. I'll wet the tip first, put it down on the pin, and feed solder into it as it takes. Once again, I'm only going to do 1 pin of each of these until I'm confident that they're in the way they should be. Yeah, let's see. Looks like one's a little lifted there on the back end. So I'm not going to touch this one, guys. They're pure metal, they get really hot. But I am going to put my little tool here underneath, heat this sucker up and see if I can press it back in. Okay, just need to solder in the other 2 pins. And repeat the process for the other 2. Okay, looks like we got our fuse clips. Put these over. Well, zoom back out here, give you a shot of the board as it stands now. Our next part is one of those that's going to take a while to actually do. It doesn't take long to explain what I'm doing. And that's terminal blocks. And here go the terminal blocks in a pile. Terminal blocks have to be assembled. Now this is let's see if we can show you. See this little edge right here on the terminal block? This little edge fits into a similar gap. In fact, I'm going to see if I can grip them at the same time so I can show you the edge and the. It's almost like a little key. Slides into a slot. Here's the key, and here's the slot. If you take these, put the on top of each other, you can literally fit them together and slide them together so two 2-pin become one 4-pin. Keep doing this until you have the required number for your assembly. In this case it would be 16 of these. Okay, that's 6. That's 8. That's 12. Actually, I found out, I just realized I did something wrong. You see the little teal? There's actually 2 slots in this particular brand of socket. Looks like I have to do them both at the same time, top and bottom. There's a key on the side and there's a smaller key at the top. You see where I missed that one? So we'll slide that back out and put it back in again. There we go. See the difference? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 16. These should go in just beautiful right in these holes. As so. Press them all down with your finger. Flip the board over and solder away. These pins are a little thicker than the previous pins. Once again, it'll take about the same amount of heat as it did on the fuse clips. Don't know if you can see this, that my tip is very small. I get a small amount of solder on my tip. Let me clean my tip. And I put it next to the pin and the pad, like so. Then you wait till the joint heats up. Sometimes the solder will go in and you'll watch it form only around the pin. And then as it heats, you'll see it literally drop or flow into the joint. See if I make, there we go. There's one. See if you can watch it. Watch that solder. There it goes. Flows right into the joint. And there it goes again. That's what we mean by trying to watch it flow, and I do believe you can see that. If you can't see it, look for it while you're working. If it flows in like that, you know you got it right. And there's the first set of terminal blocks. A whole lot easier to inspect these, given that it's so large. You can see the cone shapes on all the connections there. Now we'll turn this over and repeat. Here's the first part of the terminals. There are a couple more here. You'll notice there's one here for the AC inputs right next to the fuse holders. These are just stick them in and solder them in. Just make sure that the wire directions go out board to the board. We've been soldering on these rails for the terminals, and they are connected to this large trace running back here, and that trace is very hot right now. I've had another terminal, in fact I had both of them fall out. Sort of grabbed the pin there with my fingernail and held it as we flipped it over. And we'll solder this terminal in as well. Now this one is setting on a very large trace. This is almost just like a wagon wheel. Just let the solder melt in the joint. There we go. And one more, and it'll be the last of the terminals. And that's the last of the terminals. So we'll flip the board back over for you, so you get an idea of where we are now.